Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on CBS 8. I'm Heather Myers. We are working for you and getting to the bottom of problems that you've asked about. We're looking for solutions. We begin in a southeast San Diego neighborhood where people tell us that they feel like they've been forgotten when it comes to removing those overhead power lines. One homeowner says he has waited 30 years for the city to move the power lines underground. CBS 8's Abby Black is working for you to find out what's going on and what the process is to remove those power poles.
Mr. Young says that his Skyline neighborhood has been on the wait list for decades to move these power lines underground. We're working for you to find out what's the delay and when these power poles will come down.
The Young family moved to Sycamore Road and Skyline south of the 94, 1995.
Almost 29 years now.
Since then,
well over 30 years, and we still have not got a solid answer or resolution on why that this side of the street does not have the underground cable done.
in 1985, the power lines on the east side of the street were removed when the Southeastern Police Station was built. Today, a new fire station is under construction on the Young side of the street, but the lines have only been removed in front of the construction site.
We're hoping that when they do the final development of Engine 51, that this underground cable will be included in there.
Young's family reached out to CBS 8's Working for You, and I got to work and I started at the City of San Diego's Utilities Underground Program website and found this section of Sycamore Road in yellow is in the allocation phase.
We had contacted all our representatives. We had sent a letter to San Diego Gas and Electric, and they said that we're on the waiting list, and this will be another 10 years before things have happened.
I reached out to SDG&E, and they told me that they assisted moving the lines, but it's a City of San Diego project. A rep from the city's Utilities Underground Program responded via email saying that many projects are in what's called the allocation phase, and it's normal for there to be a long waiting period. The cost for line removal projects can cost roughly $20 million. Last year, the mayor and city leaders celebrated a milestone by removing the last power pole in La Jolla Shores. The city says that it moves about 15 miles of overhead utility lines underground annually.
You hear about Southeast San Diego, it's kind of like a negative thing, but this community is a strong community.
Mr. Young hopes the Skyline area gets to benefit the same way that other neighborhoods do.
We care about this community. It's got to be a little frustrating to say that going on 30 years and we're still waiting for these underground cables to be completed.
If you'd like to check out any projects or the status of the City of San Diego's underground power projects, go to cbs8.com and click on the help button. Working for you in Skyline, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Abby, thank you. Small sea creatures are swarming the waters near San Diego beaches. They are called tuna crabs. As you can see here, they're also called red crabs. They typically live in deeper waters down in Mexico. Our Brian White is working for you and has more on why they are turning up right here on our beaches.
So yeah, the name is a little confusing. It's not tuna and it's not crabs, but when you hear the explanation, it does make sense. And let me tell you, these are some fascinating sea creatures.
We humans breathing air don't often see them. It's kind of special when snorkelers and freedivers are able to see them right here on our beaches.
When Charlotte Seed heard that tuna crabs had come to town, she threw on her scuba tank and dove the Scripps Canyon off La Jolla, taking these photos Sunday.
It was interesting for me personally as a recreational scuba diver to see so many of them alive, seeing them interacting with other species.
Usually found off the coast of Baja California and Mexico, it's more of a rare appearance for them here in San Diego. Experts say they're brought here by currents set off by El Nino.
They spend some of their life swimming in the water column. They'll also sit on the sea floor.
In 2015, they turned up here in massive numbers. CBS 8 was there in Ocean Beach when droves of them showed up along the shoreline.
There was a mass stranding. They generated a lot of attention.
Charlotte is a museum scientist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, managing 75,000 of these jars. That's around 1 million preserved animals for their benthic invertebrate collection.
Every specimen could be a part of this time capsule showing us how life on Earth has changed. So every pickled jar of mine tells a story.
They're also known as pelagic red crabs or squat lobsters or langostia in Spanish. But I asked Charlotte why they're called tuna crabs.
Sometimes we want to say something about their life, how they relate to human uses. So tuna crabs shows that they're food for tuna. That's something that many humans care about. And crab is kind of a loose term.
They mostly eat plankton, algae, and some other invertebrates, but they'll actually eat just about anything.
They'll also eat each other if they have to. So we're seeing some tuna crab cannibalism happening. In that way, it kind of keeps the population in check.
To see them, you might want to hurry. When they're here, it's usually during springtime, and Charlotte says they could be gone by the end of June. In La Jolla, Brian White, CBS 8.
We have an update on a Working For You story that we brought to you last month. The woman who owns the so-called hoarder home in Ocean Beach says she wants the judge to come to her house and inspect it. During last Thursday's hearing, new photos were shown of Lisa Golden's home from an inspection that happened in March, showing trash piled 4 feet high. One inspector said words cannot describe the condition of one of the toilets. Golden says she is not a hoarder and claims her home was damaged and property was stolen the first time the receiver went in to clean it up back in 2021.
I've cleaned up the mess the dog made. I cleaned up my mess. I cleaned up the bathrooms. Everything's mopped and scrubbed. Before I was sucked into the federal litigation that I prevailed on, I used to keep my house spick and span.
Plans to have the home professionally cleaned a second time are now moving forward, but it's unclear when that could happen. Weight loss drugs have never been more popular, and scammers have taken notice. Videos on TikTok offer to ship popular drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy and others without a prescription. Anna Werner is working for you and looked into some new research that reveals just how dangerous these scams can be.
Come check this.
Look at some of the videos researchers found. Scammers, they say, flashing stacks of weight loss drugs, supposedly selling those popular drugs at a low cost without a prescription. Sometimes using people's testimonials.
Hey guys, I'm doing my first Mounjaro shot.
Along with before and after photos showing fabulous results. One video featuring a supposed customer's comment, "Great product, fast shipping, and I lost 16 pounds already." But the researchers say all of those videos were actually scams to lure in vulnerable buyers. The Digital Citizens Alliance's Tom Galvin.
As we searched for them, over time, because of TikTok's algorithm, they begin to search for us. So it was not hard to find several dozen operators offering Ozempic. In every case that we found, they have been scams.
Galvin says he had dozens of online chats with sellers, some claiming to be legitimate pharmacies, offering to ship Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Wegovy. The alleged scammers accepted payments through online services like Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo, but the researchers say they never received any products. TikTok told us in response it has removed accounts in the report that violated its guidelines. The company says it proactively identifies 95% of the content it removes for violating its rules against drugs and scams in the U.S. But Galvin says consumers who are duped by ads can be harmed in a number of ways.
One is that you'll be defrauded. Two is that you'll get drugs and they'll be counterfeit and be harmful. And three is you'll actually get Ozempic, but not using Ozempic under a doctor's care can be dangerous. And all three of those things are very bad outcomes for Americans.
Anna Werner, CBS News, New York.
So a TikTok spokesperson said the study has limitations because it only found a handful of problem accounts, and that prescription drug scams can be found on other social media channels as well, not just TikTok. And the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy told us that their products have varying dosages and should not be used without a medical professional's care and advice. This week, the Port of San Diego declared a state of emergency because of an invasive seaweed found in the South Bay. CBS 8's Jasmine Ramirez is working for you and shows us the potential threat to our local environment.
This invasive seaweed can be harmful to plants, marine life, and even birds. Now, it was first discovered in the San Diego Bay back in September, but now more patches have been found in the Coronado Cays.
San Diego is known for its coastline. Now something growing under the water is posing a threat to creatures that live in the bay.
We are trying our best to get this eradicated as soon as possible.
Working for you, I spoke with the port's director of environmental conservation. She says the seaweed they found is called caulerpa. It's native to Florida and commonly used in aquariums.
Someone probably had this in their aquarium, and when they cleaned it out, probably in the gutter, it was accidental release into San Diego Bay.
Since it's fast growing, it can choke out native seaweeds and sea grasses that fish, birds, and green sea turtles rely on for food and shelter. Divers just found a new patch of it about 1,000 feet off the Coronado Cays and are looking for more.
Basically, their divers are shoulder to shoulder looking at every square inch of the bay floor to find it. And we have a lot of bay to cover.
Right now, the Port of San Diego is leading the efforts to get rid of the invasive seaweed. Divers first need to survey about 3,000 acres of the bay. That's around 4 square miles. About 150 acres have been surveyed so far. Meantime, the port is urging anyone with an aquarium to take precautions.
If you have an aquarium, please don't clean it or wash it so that it can reach a storm drain that would reach the bay or the ocean. Please dump it down sinks and toilets to where it's actually treated in a sewage treatment plant.
This seaweed is illegal in California because of environmental risks. Violators can face fines up to $10,000. Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Still to come here, checking in with children and their mental health. When is it time to have those conversations and helpful tips for parents that can lead to positive results? And later on, another incident of State Farm rejecting a claim involving a broken pipe. We are working to see if there's a trend behind a somewhat common problem in a home. And don't forget, we want to look into issues affecting you and your community. You can email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have an update now on a story that we have been following for some time. If you head to our coastline in Encinitas or Solana Beach, you'll notice a big change at the beaches. They are now wider thanks to a big sand replenishment project that wrapped up this week. For decades, local, state, and federal leaders have said something needs to be done as Mother Nature was eating away at the shoreline. It's not always comfortable to talk about mental health with your kids, but experts say those conversations are critical for a child's healthy development and well-being. And as Mandy Gaither reports, the recommended age to start these talks may surprise you.
You know how to make dinner for your kids and lend a hand with homework, but what about how to help them with mental health?
We want kids to be able to know their emotions because every emotion is okay, right? But not every reaction is.
Pediatric psychologist Whitney Ragland-Bignall with the Kids Mental Health Foundation says many parents are divided on when to start mental health conversations, but she says the earlier the better for building key mental health skills.
I have a 16-month-old. He doesn't like sometimes when I have to tell him no, right? And so I'm sharing with him, like, I know that you're really upset that mom is not allowing you to touch this very dangerous thing, but mommy can't allow you to do it. And so it's helping him see that, yes, I know that he's upset about it. It's giving him a word for it so that eventually when he starts talking more to me, hopefully he can start telling me that he feels upset and he's learning some of those signals.
Ragland-Bignall says parents should be open when talking about mental health and listen to what children say. Avoid distractions. Don't be judgmental. Watch body language and facial expressions. And don't ask too many questions because the goal is for them to want to talk openly with you.
Connection and belonging is so vital. Just as we need to eat and drink, we need to be connected with one another.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
Remember, parents are not expected to have all the answers, and there are resources out there that can help. In fact, one website that parents can turn to is kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org. Still to come, imagine a pipe bursting in your home, sending water everywhere. Coming up, why a Chula Vista family's home insurance claim was rejected, and is this a new trend? Welcome back. More homeowners are coming forward saying State Farm is denying water leak damage claims. CBS 8 is working for you to find out if this is a pattern by the insurance company. Our David Govertson spoke to a homeowner in Chula Vista who says State Farm denied his claim, even though he's been a customer with the company for 30 years.
Well, it was determined that the leak was right here on the drywall. One little pipe that was just drip, 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 drip.
A hot water pipe in the wall is the cause of what Mark Matthews estimates to be $20,000 in water damage to his home of 25 years in Chula Vista. On April 21st, his wife discovered the dining room was soaked.
She did this, squish, squish.
The couple called in a water damage company and furniture movers. Then the State Farm insurance adjuster showed up.
He just said straight to our face, no, we're not covering this because it's a continuous leak, which State Farm does not cover. They'll just cover a sudden leak.
Mark was shocked because they never noticed any water leaking in the past.
Even the report from the plumber said, it's a sudden pipe burst, whatever, but no, he wouldn't have any of that.
Mark emailed CBS 8 working for you after we aired a similar story on a homeowner in University City, also denied by State Farm for a leaky roof. I reached out to a consumer advocate at United Policyholders.
We are seeing a pattern of State Farm denying water damage claims on the grounds that it was a gradual seepage or continuous leakage, and that they are using that argument to avoid paying for what we believe are covered losses.
Amy Bach says if attorneys find out State Farm is unfairly denying water damage claims, there could be a lawsuit.
It may be at some point that a consumer like this gentleman would end up being a plaintiff in a class action suit with a whole bunch of other people who've been similarly harmed.
This carpet is history.
Yeah, unfortunately.
State Farm says it can't talk about specifics of a claim due to customer privacy, and that, quote, State Farm seeks to provide our customers all benefits to which they are entitled. We welcome additional information that may help us identify any applicable benefit under the policy.
State Farm is not looking out for their customers. They're just looking out for their bottom line.
We'll keep tabs on the situation here in Chula Vista, and we'll also let you know if we get any more information about a possible class action lawsuit. Working for you, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Time now for Working for Your Wallet. Last year, Sandag voted to remove a controversial regional road user charge. It's often called the mileage tax. Now it appears that plan might be back on the table. The state of California wants to test new road charge. And here's what happens. This comes as the state phases out the sale of gas-powered cars, meaning there will be less money from the gas taxes. Right now, people are trying to figure out how to eventually replace the 60-cent a gallon tax that we all pay when we fill up our car. This pilot program would test two different models, a flat per mile rate or an individualized rate based on a car's fuel efficiency. Drivers would take pictures of their odometer, install a device that logs miles, or a device that can track where you drive. The state is searching for 800 drivers to try this out and is offering $400 in credit to each participant. You'll also get credit for the gas taxes or the electric car registration fees. Well, that's going to do it for us. Remember, if there is something that you would like us to look into, you can email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. Thanks so much for joining us right here on CBS 8. We'll see you next time.